everyone. Welcome to another amazing stream at fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. There we go. Hello, everyone. I'm here with the fantastic and wonderful Nick Hunter. Nick is an awesome, fantastic FileMaker developer. He truly is. He covers so many really cool topics, and he's also gracious enough to come here and share them with us on a regular basis. With that being said, if you'd like to support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it. We have the FM Training annual subscription bundles. They are 100+ hours of really high energy video content. If you know nothing about FileMaker or you want to learn about very specific subjects in FileMaker, we cover pretty much all of the basics and all of the intermediate levels, so you can become like a fully fledged developer in your own right. We highly recommend it. If you've bought it already, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. So, Nick, what do we do today?
So what we do? We 2 weeks ago, we have done the how to build a file from scratch, right? And what we need to take care of, and how we can build tables, and how we can build occurrences, and how you name things, right? And how you organize things. So this webinar is all about organization and stuff like that, right? It's not like auto entries, and it's all about how to organize your stuff, right? So, and how we can prevent traps. Okay, so the goal here is to prevent you to have trouble with getting retrieving things, because if you cannot retrieve things easily, what we have tendency of doing is doing duplications. So sometimes you can have the same relationship, the same occurrence 2 or 3 times, just because you didn't name it correctly, and then you cannot retrieve it. So that's why, and the same for the scripts, for example, and the same for everything. If you don't name the thing correctly, then you have trouble. And which kind of trouble? For example, let's say you have 2 relationships in an anchor buoy. So let me share my screen right quick. So let's say you have what's the name? So let's say you have a multiple relationship, and you don't name that way, and you have 2 relationships identical. So that means you have 2 relationships identical, the same predicates and stuff like that, but with 2 different names. So, and then 2 months later, or 2 years later, you figure out this, and then you want to remove one, but you can't, because you have half of your scripts and half of your calculation using one, and you have the other half using using the other one, the other occurrence. So you have 2 different set of things using 2 different occurrences. They do the same thing, but you cannot remove them, because otherwise you will break half of your script, and you will break the other half. So you have to keep your thing, or you need to rework and chase which one you're using in your script and stuff like that. So if you do that multiple times, you have what we call junk. You start to have a junk file. So to prevent to have a junk file, you need to use extreme discipline in how to name things. It's only if you use the same way of naming things that you can have, you can prevent the duplication, triplication, quadruplication. Okay. You have another thing also, right? That when you have, if you are a developer, and you have multiple projects, you're working on multiple projects, and let's say you use always the same name for the same fields with the same name. You always name your dates the one way. You always name your the occurrence or your table all along, in all your solution, you name the same way, the same table. For example, you have a contact table in all your production, all your projects. You have contact table. Okay, let's call it T05 contacts. in all of your development. There are TO5 contacts, and you have TO5A and TO5 or TO2, for example. Let's say, I call it 205, but you can call it 202. 202 contact, and you have the A and the B and the C always pointing to the same table. And you have, if you have the same type of basic foundation in all your files, you can just copy paste your scripts, copy paste else, or copy paste, and then they go and they flow. They come and flow because you have the same type of naming. If you always name your field like IDF contact, IDF projects, IDF invoices, but you don't say, oh, ID personal Nick Hunter invoice. No. If you do this, and the other one you say, oh, ID invoice foreign key Carlton, it's not going to work because you're going to break. Everything you do is break. So another thing that I told you is that why naming things like city, address, company, country? Why? Because if you copy paste, it's country, city, it's date, you have the same name. It's a basic generic name. If you start doing accounting date, accounting city, accounting country, accounting this, if you put accounting, if you put again, you put account state, account postal code, account current date, account country, account company manager, account company, account city. If you do this, and then you want to copy this and put that in another file or another table, what you have to do? Oh, you have account country in your project, table. You don't. Right? Let's say I want address, city, country, postal code, and state in a brand new table. Just create my table, brand new table. Okay, that's it. Brand new table. That's my new table. I want to do this, right? So I'm deleting this, and I want my address. Okay, I have my address. I don't have to. Oh, it's accounting. No. So this also always use the smallest name possible. Then you can copy paste, right? Because this will help you being more efficient, right? Always name the same way, okay? The occurrence, always the same, because at one point in your life, like I use this for, it's like 10 years now, 15 years, I'm using the same construction here. I know by heart that T27J, I know what that will do. Because we have two brains, right? You know that, right? So I'm a psychologist, so I'm going to explain to you. We have two brains, right? So remember a text, if we use the laziest side of our brain, we use the laziest. But using numbers, we use the fastest side of our brain. That's why we remember numbers much better than names, okay? So, and that's why it's important to have names with number. You're going to remember the numbers, TO2, but the name we don't read that. Okay, so yes, we read it, but we read it in one way. For example, when you have, why we put that capital and that's small. So what we have this distinction right now. Okay, it's because, so let's go and see which one we can use. I can use this one. So this is the customer. Okay. Okay, so here, so we have this and we have this here. So we have the relationship. So why we do this? Because here, so this is one of the most advanced file I ever created. So that was before, and that now, right? So you see, we have a lot of things, right? So we have a lot of things here, right? So So now you know why I'm using these big names here, because I know this is sign up. Because you can zoom out, right? Like 18%, right? Here, you don't know what that is. You don't know what that is. You don't know what that is because this is too small, right? But here, this is designer, this is company, this is user, this is contact, this is lead. So you can see, and then you can navigate, right? And then you can zoom in, right? So you have here, and you can zoom out, and then you can navigate from your step. You can zoom in here, okay? So, but here, let's say we have this huge list like this, right? But I want to use a relationship. I want to use an occurrence that go to the material, for example, okay? So I know this one is going to material, I know because I see that. This one, you see, out of the list, I can browse with my eyes. So those three are going to material, see, because they are capital. So I'm reading the capital. I'm not reading the other one. I'm not reading the text here. I'm just reading the capital. So the capital here, the capital letter, material. See, it's, and then when you see this, you can see, oh no, I want that's the one I want. That's the one I want, because I want the one selected. Because I put kind of I explained last time, you can put like explanation, additional info to recognize the things, right? So this is a way, to help you, to visually, where you go, right? So even though you have a lot of things, right? You don't care because, they're, what's the name? They're, visually, you can see which one it's what you want, right? There's another thing interesting in that way of naming things. Okay, it's that don't try to reorganize this alphabetically or to put things together. No, just let the thing flow. If I need another one, just duplicate this one and call it T, even though it's something different, even though you go to calendar. Okay, you don't care, you don't care because it's better to have kind of like a chronological order. So that the T106AS, it's the latest one you created. Most of the time, when you create a relationship, you are working on the latest you just created. That because, okay, I'm not going to use that anymore, the preferences or the navigation. That was the first one I created, right? When you create things. But when you are building something, most of the time you build relationship and then you are doing something using the latest relationship you created. So having that naming system, you have automatically, which one is the latest you created because they are, A, B, A, C, you continue, right? You continue the lettering. So right? So do we have any questions so far?
We do actually. We've got one from, let's do the Ken first. In that rebuild, did you create all new layouts for the new structure and the ones that are still there under the spider graph?
Yes, exactly. So I can show you. So in this file here, this is a one that I'm working on, right? So it's work in progress, right? So this is how it looks like, okay? So this is the new, and this is before with this unchecked because I don't want them, but they are there for reference. Right? So those are the old one, so I can open it sometime if I need them, So they're the old ones, okay? So let's see, an old one. So we see old. So those are the old ones. So I can open them. See, this is the old structure, right? So I can open them as a reference sometime, but I don't really care, so that's why when we build something like this, when we have a new file, we build a new file within an old one, right? So we keep the same structure. So I'm keeping the same tables and I'm keeping the same. I'm renaming what I need and I'm ignoring what I don't need, right? So for example, here I use the companies or let's go to the contacts, right? So here you have new and old stuff. This, I don't do this. The Z, it's not interesting me. I don't need that, right? But I keep them. I ignore them. I just ignore, and because I know sometimes I reuse those things, right? They're not named the way I want, right? But I keep them, and sometimes I say, oh, okay, I don't want phone. It's okay. I don't care that. I can say phone, cell, for example. I can say fax. I can say, sometimes I'm doing cleanup. So when I keep the name, I rename it immediately when it's very nasty. Or if it's like this, phone, cell, phone, fax, that doesn't make any sense, phone, fax, Phone fax, it's a phone, it's a fax, but it cannot be a phone fax. But when we sometimes I say, oh, I'm cleaning 5, 6 like this, and then I go. Yes, typically what we do to answer the question is we keep this as a reference, right? But we don't make sure we have nothing that call those things, I have nothing that call those things. And how I know that I'm not using those things is because my naming is completely different. So I will never anchor, this is not enough, the bit, it's missing the numbers and stuff like that. So I don't use that at all. I don't. And I'm referring only to this stuff here, right? So this is the way we do. For the layout, the same, right? So for the layout here, so let's go to the layout now. Let's talk about the layout. The layout here, we need to name them, right? So always, I'm doing this, So I have the main layouts without a subfolder, right? So here you have a folder, accounts. Then I have a subfolder, tables, cards, context. For contact, I have the same. Tables, so you see here, tables, card, context. So what's the difference between those? So this we know they are pretty much the data, the layout where you enter data, when you enter data, right? So those are the layouts. So for example, I have the contact data entry, right? I have the company data entry, I have the lead data entry, and the design data entry. So all of those are data entry. So why I'm naming that data entry, because I know those are my main layouts. They are the layout where I'm putting my, I'm entering data, right? So if I go there, so this is the main layout, right? This is the main layout. So this is the main layout as well, and you can see here, this is the main layout where I have an anchor of my anchor buoy attached. I have the T14 attached, the T11, the T15, and the T32. So if I go to my layout here, if I go to my relationship, right, I will see that the T14 is there. So the T14, I have this attached to it. Then I have the T11. So now you know why we name those. If you have like this, and you have bit, okay, all bit. They all start with bit. Okay, it's useless. Because in the relationship map, you can do something like this. I'm here, I want the T14. I am there. Now, I'm there, I want the T11B. I'm there, right? Now I want the T106A. So you understand why naming bit doesn't help. Why the T something helps? It helps a lot because I can navigate here the way I want. If I do bid, okay, I'm going there. That's it. That's all what I can do. I cannot type bid underscore section underscore ID. I cannot type this. You know, I cannot type this, right? So that's why we need the T14. So yeah, I want to go to the T32. I want T32 design. I'm here. T32. Boom. It's there. And FileMaker is smart enough. Is going to the latest visited, the latest occurrence visited of that number. So if, for example, I visited the J, even if I click outside, I'm going there and to 232 is going to J. Okay. Or it's still going to L. Yeah, because I didn't modify it. So you need, it's the latest modified, you know, the latest modified. But you understand what I mean. So, hold on, I'm struggling with my headset. Okay. So you understand what I mean here? So if I want to go to the TO2, TO2 I don't, TO9, boom, TO9, T11, T33, T107. So see, you navigate through your map with this number. If everything named bit, it doesn't work, okay? So now back to the layouts. So you understand those are my main layout, but what the cards, what the table, what the context, and what documents, by the way, right? Or backups, you know? But I always have cards, table, context, cards, table, context, card, table, context. Why? So always for all my anchors. This is the contact world, estimate world, the project world. So it's the contacts one, you know. So you go there, I have the contact world, you know, the estimate world, you know. So for all of them, contact, project, you know, I have a main layout, a data entry layout, but in contact, I have all of this contact company layout. All of this is part of contact world. This here, the data entry and the edit estimate version, this is two things. The L40, 400 and 401, this is how I'm naming my things, right? If I'm typing T10 like this, I have pretty much all my contact world, right? L100, 101, 102, 103, okay? So I have all my world like this. So you can call your world like this, right? But here for the cards, I'm naming free. So I'm naming C. So here I'm saying I want the L300, like, you know, I have my estimate world. But if I'm say C300, I have all the cards going with this estimate world. Okay. So why the cards? What is the card? What is the table? The cards are the layout I'm using at the card style window. So this is a card style window. This will appear at one moment in my script as a card style window. They're all card style window, all of them, you know, all of them. They're all card style window. Those, you know, see, importing photos, the sites, this, all of those are card style window. They are layout I'm using in card style window. So I'm putting them in a card layouts, card folder. What are tables? Tables are the layouts that points to the totally free of relationship occurrences. You remember I told you last time that you need to have occurrences that point directly to the table, and the occurrence name has the same name as the table. Same as a table. But this occurrence has no relationship whatsoever. So you know that entering that layout, you won't have any related thing that will work, right? Because you will be you're free of relationship. So you know that you won't be bothered and you won't be slowed down by anything because you have no relationship working there, right? And it's important because sometimes, and you have layouts pointing to that table. For example, I want my table. So I have a layout in table view. They're all table views. They're only table views. The table views, right? Table views like this. And then you can manipulate them and show whatever you want. And you are sure that in that layout, this table layout, see, I have nothing on that layout. I have no triggers and absolutely nothing attached to it. It's a pure virgin layout pointing to the table with the name of the table, and that's it. And that is, let's say you need to have, you need to do some custodial stuff, or check if everything okay, if everything, estimate. And I can delete something. I can check if the IDs are right. Let's say I want to make sure that, I want to select only those. You can do some work, debug, whatever. You're free like this, So this layout is pure, clean. There's nothing to attach. And I'm putting all of those that related to that world. I'm putting them in the table folder that belong to that world. Okay, so here that the contact, that all the table that belong to the contact world. Project the same. I have all the table that all of those are pretty much project related. So I'm putting them there, and they all point, see the same name. The layouts name and the table name and their occurrence name is the same name, right? Exactly the same name. All of them, from the table name to the occurrence name to the layout name, that's the same name. Then you know where you are. You know that if I go to the est_estimate, I'm going to go to that table for sure. There's no mistake possible, right? This is why it's important to name them like this. It's important also to name that EST estimates, right? And EST is always estimates. So you remember you have EST, ESTI, ESTV, right? Because this is estimate, estimate item, and estimate version. So you know where you are. The free letters tell you many things, like project. Like if you go project here, you have the project section, the project subsection, right? So you know where you are, right? So this is that's something that will go away. This is from the previous, the project report that will go away. But normally they are all together. So the name, it's important for the tables, right? Tables, occurrence, layouts. For those custodial layouts, that custodial. This is you go there with a script, like for example, let's say you have a script and you want to delete all, for example. Go delete. You go there, you perform fine, and you delete. You go to that layout. You don't want to open that one because more likely you don't use the one for data entry, for human interaction. You don't use that because you have a bunch of auto entry, the on record load, on record commit, on layout enter, on mod, and you don't want that to perform. Those are for human use. This is for human use. This is for machine use. But sometimes you need some things different. Sometimes you need what I call a context. What it is. Sometimes I want a pure layout without any trigger. You know, when you have this splash, you know, this sparkle here, that means you have a trigger. This one has a trigger. So you have a sparkle. Here, there's no trigger, right? But it's not pointing to that layout. See, this layout is pointing to T17, okay? But this layout, it's a big layout, right? It's a data entry layout. But this one, it's a table view layout pointing to the same table, to the same occurrence, the T17 projects. So why the difference between pointing to the projects? They go to the same table, but not the same occurrence. If I use the proj_project, I'm going there. See, when you don't have the letter, proj somewhere, you know, proj. You see, it's not when you don't have. Here, okay, I'm going there, but here, from that occurrence, I have no relationship, none. So all my auto entry calculation won't work, pretty much, you know, most of them, you know, or there's many things that won't work because I'm not in the right context. I'm not in the right context. If I go there, if I say in a layout, in a script, for example, if I say go to layouts and I'm going to that layout, let's say proj, if I'm going to that layout, right, I have no relationship, you know, I have none. So look, so how we know that? Because if I say set field, for example, if I want to set a field, right, and I do that and I say proj_, I have no relationship, none, because I want that, but I don't want to use that. I want to use the T17, because the T17 I have A, B, C, D, I have A, B, A, C, A, D, I have all those relationships working. All those relationships, all of those are available to me from the T17 projects. So if I want to set field using a T17B, for example, relationship, I don't want to go to project. I want to go to the T17 layouts. So you understand the benefits here. I don't want to go to my data entry layout. This is a huge layout, big layout with all the objects, all the auto entry, you know, the on commit, the on record load, and the hidden state. And why you want to do that? If you want a script to go there, do something, and go away. Why you want to display all of this? Right? No, what you want is to have a context layout that goes to the same context as this one, but without showing all the BS that you have on the other one, right? So it's much lighter when you go to that layout, right? It's much lighter. It's the same. Going there or going there, it's freaking the same. But this one is much lighter than this one, much lighter than this one. You don't have triggers, you don't have this. So, and because, look, if I do this and I say I want to go to that one, you know, you have a lot of things to read. It shows you that you go to the T17, but, right? It's not the same than doing this. I'm going to the T17. Now I know I'm going to T17 project on the T17 project table. I have no doubts. And then you can go, and say, oh, I want to go to the T17 project, and then I can do this, And then I see T17, C17, C17. I have only T17. I know I'm there. I have no source of errors, right? It's readable. It's understandable. Everything is based on T17, right? Other thing I want to show you before we go to the question if we have. Here, I'm in projects. In my script here, if I say set fields, set fields, when I go there, I said specify, it comes to projects, because I'm in projects. But if I'm showing a window with the T17 and I say set fields, right? And I say specify, boom, it's coming from the T17 automatically. I didn't change anything. Swear God, didn't change anything, right? I'm going there. I'm showing proj. I'm from proj. This is the window, the foreground window, right? I'm doing set fields. Okay, specify proj. If I'm going there, specify T17. It helps. So that's why sometimes it's good to have those windows open. So you have those contexts open to you. Then it's, instead of clicking, going and build freaking bugs because you're not in the right context. So you understand now why, right? In my context list here, I have all the context of all my anchor buoys. Those are my anchors of my anchor buoys. All of those are point of entries in my relationship map, all of those, right? Demonstration. So I have the T119, for example. So I know this is the T119. I have a layout that goes to that one. I have a layout that goes to that one. But also, I have a layout that goes to psub. So, because depending what I want to do. If I have a script that goes to that layout, I need to be in that context because I need a relationship. I need the T119J to work, or G to work. I need to go to the T119 because if I go to psub, it won't work, right? So now, those I have layouts, context related that goes, but they are all, let's open those. They are all table views. They are table views, all of them. See, table view, table view, table view. And you can show and hide the field you want to show, because you don't need all. Those layouts are for debugging, controlling, manipulation, custodial, cleaning, right? And also to have a script on server, for example, go to that layout, perform find, delete thing, or replace, or export, or import, so you can do that, right? So you can do that, and with those layouts. So do we have any questions for that?
We have several questions.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'll start with Stu. Question, do you use colors in the relationship graph to mean anything, or are they just to distinguish the anchors from one another?
Yeah, they're just to distinguish an anchor from one another. I don't use colors for any meaning because it's, I know people are doing this. Oh, okay, this is blue, this is orange, I know somebody doing this. He likes it. You can do it. You can say, or you can invent your own color management. I don't. I just put those are just because when I do this, it's just because I know after a while that user I'm using always a purple. 15 years I'm doing this, so I know purple is user, but I'm using purple for this. It's just to distinguish. I don't have any meaning like this. This they try to do something, but the problem of the color code is that it's not interesting because I don't have it here. You know, I don't have it. I don't have a color. If I put a right color on the T07A, I won't see it here. So if Claris, if Claris had done that to display the color here, I would have used it, right? Because it will have a meaning. What I'm doing in the relationship with the naming, this is just for a visual navigation of the map when you have a pretty complex map like this, right? So when you have a complex map like this, you want some differentiation to cut worlds, okay? Especially when you do a zoom out like I'm doing. But what I want in the naming, right? What I want in the naming, it's put a name that is meaningful when you are in that mode. For example, if I go to the 106, for example, I want something that is meaningful when I'm typing T106. This is meaningful because I know preference value, because I can type, you know, let's say T106 value. So I have all the T106 with value, right? So let's say I want T106 item, all the one with item, right? So this has value. If I didn't put that name that way, I couldn't do that, right? I want, for example, all the T106 with the underscore IDF value. If you name bit, doesn't work. You have no way to do this kind of filtering, like T106 underscore IDF value. However, you know, they're here. They're all here, right? And I can say, for example, I want to do a filter like this, you know, so that's why I'm doing this, you know. Look, I'm there, T106 underscore IDF sub selected. Yeah, I have a lot with this. So here they're all selected. They're all with selected, right? So or creation, I have only one. So and this works because I'm using a standardized naming convention. It's not because one day I was in the mood of naming blah, and then another day I was in the mood of naming blue, and then another day I was in the mood of naming everything bid, right? No, I'm using always, I know when I have a relationship where I have the creation through the relationship, I put creation in the name. So I know I can find it. I can pretty much find all the relationships that do the creation. I'm doing this. All of those relationships I'm creating with all of those relationships, and I can do more. You remember the boss one day did a thing about which relationship is deleting automatically your data. If you use a right a good naming convention, a good one, okay, I can find all the relationships that do deletion. Delete. All of those are deleting. All of those. All of those relationships are deleting records from the relationship, all of them. How I know that? Because I take the time to put delete in the name of the occurrence. So if I go there and I have a relationship and I say, here, this one is deleting. This one is deleting. It's deleting and it's create. It create, delete. And sometimes I have create, delete, sort, or select sort, or Cartesian sort. Oh, I want to know all my Cartesian link. Okay. Oh, okay. All of those are Cartesian. All of them. See, when you have a good naming convention and you do the right thing, yeah, I tell people, oh, yeah, you are paying the time. I tell my customers, you are paying the time for me to type this stuff. I'm typing it, right? Yeah, you pay like 25 seconds or 30 seconds, or let's say 1 minute if you have one complicated. Let's say you pay 1 minute of my time doing this. But how many days of work you save to me throughout the construction of this file, because this relationship, I could select it automatically because I put the right name, right? And I know what it is, you know. Yes, I put all those. I'm not putting xref2, SSDM. No, I'm not doing this, because 2 months later, I say, what the SSDM means? You know, I copy the name of this. I'm copying the name. I'm putting everything. Even though I have a super large name, I don't care, because I'm not typing it. I never type anything. I have this. If I want this one, if I want this super long name, right? If I want it, I don't have to type it. T106W is there. Is there. I have it. It's okay. I don't need to type. So I can have long names. I can. I want all my information. Give me all the information. Don't give me half of the information. I want all of them, right? So let's have another question.
Next question is from Topcat. Why do you have separate tables for staff and designers? Are they not both people, or is it just a TO? What if someone from staff changed the job to be a designer?
Exactly, because the design was like this. We have the staff. Staff is an employee, you know. A designer can be somebody from another company, can be me. They can hire me as a designer, but I'm not a staff, you know. You know what I mean? So a designer can be a company, it's something else. But in my construction, the designer are used for different things. And why? Good question. Good question. In my construction here, I have here. So I have a layout for the data entry of the staff with project crew member. Designer doesn't have crew members, right? Crew members, task, daily reports. Okay, that's staff, you know. But designers, oh, they have leads, estimates, projects, different things. So, and that's why, you know, in the designer layout, right? So in the designer, if I go there, I can see designer. So in the designer, I have a relationship. From that table, I have a relationship, right? But from staff, you know, I have other relationship from staff. Where's staff? Staff. Staff different. So it's a different encobui. It's a different world. So I have a different table, and because different things. They're not the same, you know. So you do that when you need. If designer was just a different type of staff, yeah. But staff is that I can have a different type of staff, you know. Our foremen, crew members, sometimes they're both, right? But they're staff, right? And I have users. I have designer, I have staff, and user. So now you know why the SR, the USR, the STR, the STA, why this is because on that menu, because that's the only menu we have to navigate from table to table. I want projects. I want estimates. I want invoice. You understand? Right? I want user. I want staff. I don't struggle. This like payment, yeah. But if you have multiple, you know what I mean? So if you have really like this, for example, that estimate section, estimate subsection, estimate, they're all ES something. But I have EST, you know, ESTI, ESTV, right? ESE. See, I can navigate from my stuff very easily because of the name. So, yeah. Other question?
Yes, in the tables at the top, you have a relationship on mat_materials. However, you said none of them should have relationships. Why does that one have one?
Okay, here. Yeah, okay, why this one? Because sometime here, I wanted to do a manipulation. I wanted to grab, actually it's something I never remove, but I don't need that I don't need it, you know, because if I need, I don't need it, but it's okay. Good question. At one point, I wanted to do a very precise strike. And I wanted to make sure I'm not going to disrupt anything. So I'm using those relationships pure. I'm altering just for one shot. I'm doing what I want, and normally I'm doing this. I'm deleting. And you know, because I don't need, right? But I'm using this for very precise chirurgical strike, something like I want like very laser blade, like, you know, razor blade incision, right? So I'm putting myself in the isolated environment, and sometime I'm doing like this. I'm duplicating this, and I'm creating my own mini environments. I'm creating a layout that points to the material 2, that point to the level 4, and then, you know, I'm creating my mini environment. I do my strike like a relookup, like an import or whatever, right? And then boom, boom, I delete everything. Go sayonara, bye bye, goodbye, you know, Broadway. So I don't want that, you know. So good question. So let's go to another one.
If tables are assigned security only to administrator, do you need an unrelated table to use in script step?
Can you repeat that, please? Yeah.
If tables are assigned security only to administrator, and you need an unrelated table to use in script step?
Yeah. Okay. So that is, personally, I'm building very complicated, very advanced security thing without using the FileMaker stuff. You know, it's so you know, let me describe this. So I'm not using this or very okay. Not this one, but if you create a new one and when you want to go there and you have custom privilege and you can go, okay, when you want to use this, right, I'm using it for little things and very precise things, not as my main privilege management. So I prefer, and that could be that will be pretty much the. Do we have the advanced search? Plan, right? So we have an advanced.
I think that might be tomorrow.
So that will be part of what I'm going to show, But we are going to do that's a good topic, by the way.
Oh no, advanced search is the 7th. Excuse me. So come back on the 7th of December.
Yeah. So, but we are going to do something like this about their privilege management without using this, okay? Because this you can use it for things really, really, really special, really, where you don't have the choice. But if you have the right design, and if you have we have many new ways, okay, to do things without using this, right? And I'm going to show during that webinar how we can prevent people to see records without using this at all. This, never use this. To be honest with you, never use it. Because, and I have a pretty rock solid things, right? Because if somebody has no right to see your layouts, he doesn't have the button to go to the layout point, page. That's it. If somebody has no right to see a field, I'm not showing the fields. So, and that's the reason why also I'm using, and that, that will be part of my next topic. Why? Okay, the boss doesn't like it, but I do. Because why the difference between this, okay, and this and this? Here, I have no way here to hide this. I don't think we can do, unless they change this. Where is mine? No, see. So here, this here, I have no way to say I want to hide that button, that tab. I cannot. I'm hiding the whole thing. It shows you the illusion that you're going to hide that tab, but you are hiding the whole damn thing. And you cannot hide this. You can. Here, I want to conditionally hide this one. Okay? Conditionally hide this button. But I want to see this and I want to see this, right? Demonstration. I have only two buttons, this one and this one. The other one is no longer there. If I want to show it, let's say I have a calculation that says show it. Okay, now I have it. That's simple. And this piece of BS, okay, piece of what you know, doesn't work. Okay, so that's why I'm not using it. So when you have the right design and somebody says, no, you cannot see, I'm organizing things based on this. I say, okay, yeah, somebody, like, for example, you have no right to see the birthday of your colleagues. Let's say, you go to the staff and date of birth, I don't want you to know my age, I don't, and I don't want you to know my sex, for example, my gender. I don't know, maybe I have another one, I choose my own, I'm from California. So come with the gender you want. So I don't want you to see my gender. I don't want you to see my age. I don't want you to see whatever, right? So I'm not, I'm doing, you cannot see my phone number and you cannot see my mobile. You cannot see that. Let's say you cannot see, you cannot. Okay, you cannot. You're not there. They're there, but you cannot see. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm not doing, and I'm building this based on the privilege on the startup. And I'm doing my own privilege, like I say, oh yeah, that this user here, for example, here, this user, I'm going to privilege here. And I say, yeah, this guy pretty much can do this. He cannot do projects. And, and he cannot do invoice, So you can choose, and that will disappear from the menu, right? So we have other ways. So do we have any other question?
I think no, Stu, did I get your question? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. Contexts are always table views on an anchor, and tables are table views on tables without relationships.
Yeah, exactly. So context is because I want to land on one of those contexts. I want to land here because I need to land here for my script to work, or I need to land here, or I need to land here. So I have context. I have table views based on context. That's why I'm calling that context. But I also have a table view that lands to my main table without any relationship for custodial, for whatever. Okay. Before we go, I want to do a little aparté for the value list. Okay. So far, value lists are table related. Value lists are table related, and they are also context related, but table related. All the value lists that go from contacts, I'm naming them like this. So, for example, contact city, and let's say they base on the city of contacts, right? And then I duplicate and I say I want this state. Okay. So this is what this is how I'm doing it. Okay. So contact. They are named the same as their table. Then you can see them, you can recognize them easily when they are sorted. If I have a new one like a user, so they are users related. So I can have user cities, for example. But this is different. You understand? So if I go to I don't know if I have user, but if I go to account, for example, accounts. So I'm doing account, ACC, account cities, right? So this will be on accounts and that will be cities, right? So now I have two cities, but I have one account and one for contacts. But the name is easy to see, they're easy. And when you sort them, you want account cities, right? So it's easy to name that way, so you have the name of the table with the name of the main table, right? The name of the table. When I say table is this, right? And then you can do whatever. So in which world they belong, right? They belong on multiple worlds. When you have a value list, even though let's say they're not related to any any field, but they belong to a world. They belong to a world, like account, for example. And you want account, company, and you have and you have a custom list, RCC, and you have I don't know, Apple, Claris. Okay, so you have this, but they belong to accounts. So this is for accounts, right? So it's for the accounts then. So now, if you have a status, for example, and they're all the same. Let's say you have many times you have the same status. You have for the account, you have status, you have status, and they're all the same, you know, like active, inactive, and I don't know, disregards. Okay. Okay. Even though you use the same value list, right, for different worlds, I suggest don't kill me right now. I suggest you do the same and you say, okay, this is for content. They are the same, but they are for content. I suggest you do this. I'm doing this, and I tell you what. You start having the same, and then you say, yeah, but I need a status for an additional status. Oh, I need an, and then you forget which freaking layout you're going to use that freaking value list. Tell me. Let's say you have one like this. Okay. Let's say you have one like this. You know, you have status. Okay. But you want to modify what? Are you going to remember if you use another one when you have 200,000 value list? You know, at one point you don't remember. You got the point here. It's better, you know, to always do the same for everybody, right? So it's better to name the same, to name the value list with different, you know, they are the same here. You know, if I want the same for project, I duplicate, you know, that's why you have a duplicate button, by the way. Okay. So you duplicate, you say projects, and you need status. It's better that you have different one, and you know in which world they belong. Which world? Because you can have multiple layouts on the same world using the same value list, but that's okay because the values belong to the world. Okay. Sometime I'm doing this. I'm doing like this, and I say status pipe search because I have like this, something like this. I have an additional information. I have something different can happen, you know. I have like this, you know, you can have something like this. You can have a different version of variants. So you have the project status search, right? So you know, so you understand visually will be much easier to browse because don't forget, we have no search box, right? So we have only this. If I'm there, and I want the proj. If I'm there, I want accounts. If I'm there, I want contact. So you understand why it's important to start with the CON, PRO, and stuff like that. You understand why those names are so freaking important because we have no way to search. Now, let's have a recap, okay? The name on the occurrence, more information you put, better is, but don't put, hello, how are you today? I'm Nick, and today I'm going to name that occurrence that way. No, you need to follow a rule. You need to follow guidelines, right? A coding standard. Throughout your solution, you are naming always the same way, and the same construction of name. That means you can have what I'm doing, what I'm showing, all the creation layer relationship, all the deletion relationship, right? I have them immediately. You don't. You have to run the design, you know, like a report, and good luck, or use a plugin or whatever you want. So, but I don't need plugins. But you know, I don't need because I have everything. So I'm doing my own homework. So the same for the layouts, naming L301B, C, okay. And sometimes, so before we go, I forgot to, but I want to show you. Sometimes I have this, you know, I can name that way, you know. I have the the L22A and the L22B, they're all L22s, but they have a variance. So advantage, L022 up. Boom. I have the A and I have the B. So unfortunately, we didn't do the scripting, but the scripting is the same way, right? You name it, you name the script. Unfortunately, I can do something like 5 minutes. So the scripts, for the scripts, here what you need to do. Okay, so let me show you in that field. The scripts, you have thousands. You can have thousands. So how you do without a good naming convention? How you do? Tell me. How you do without, naming correctly? Let me show you. I say, this is my staff world. On my staff world, I have the value list world. I have the occurrence world. I have my world, the layout, the value list, the occurrence, everything, but for the script also. I have a world. And I'm defining that from the 4400 to the 4599, those 200 possible scripts are available, the numbering are available for that. So I know, right? I know if I name like this, this is the staff world, period, right? Because I know the 44, right? Or the 45 can be, right? Okay, 44, 40, okay. So now it's okay, but I want the 44 world, right? And now, I want to open and I want open, or I want the, so no, yeah, I cannot do that. But I want, for example, I want a script where it's opening something. Open site, open scrap, open designer, open. So I'm filtering out of thousands of field of scripts. I have this list. Now, right? I want a script, right, that do on record load. Okay, all of those scripts are on record load scripts, right? I want on record commit, right? I don't have much, right? And I want a piece of all my pieces. They're all there. And then I want something like, I want to import all that my import, the import, I want all my deletes. I want all my remove. So why? Why it's so easy? Because I do always the same thing. A script says, those are my universal scripts, so I'm not going to explain that. But let's say here, add, validate, cancel, add, validate, cancel, add, validate, cancel, import, show, export, add, go. So I'm starting with action. What is this? Add, remove, delete, import, go, or whatever, right? Cancel, validate. And then I'm doing what it is. Add new. So, okay, I want all my add new. Why is not showing? Okay, add new. So I have all my add new. So, but if I want, I can add all my add. All those are adding something. Okay. But if I said add multiple, all of this add multiple, or add single, because I can do this because I always put the name, the number, where it belongs. So it belongs under, this is the A, B, C. So first, add new asset type, validate new asset type, cancel asset type. But why? Because why A, B, C? A, B, C, because they belong to the same workflow. First, I'm adding. Second, I validate, or I can cancel. So that's why I say A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B. I know those belongs together. They belong together because I know with A, B, C, right? And always I'm doing this, right? Always, always, always. So A, B, right? So add new, cancel new, insert, import, remove, import. See, they all go together, but I know, I can see that. I see this, right? I know where the trigger are. I know where my pieces are. So everything is organized. So it's but always following the same pattern. I don't have a folder. One day I want to name a folder blue, and the other one I want to name the folder. No, I have triggers, pieces, subscripts always. And sometimes, when I have the time, I'm putting the little icon here, the emojis, because it's fun. It's fun. Like, for example, perform scripts. Look, it's fun because you can see it. So why this manner of numbering before we go and then we go? Why I'm naming that way? Okay? That's the only way we can select a script. So we can sometimes when you have a lot of script like I do. This one is not one of my biggest, but I want users. Okay, all my user script, they're all there. So or I want I don't know. I want the leads, all my leads. Okay, and if you have a lot of my leads triggers, this is the trigger of the leads. No, I want the leads, or I want for example, I want the estimates version, right? So it's because I analyze how this works. And you can see those are my main what's the name, folders, right? And then I know this one is within this one. Why? Because this one is the main one, this one is the main one. This is not the main one. If I go to the project here, let's go. If I go to project, right? Triggers, no, project. Projects, critical path, trigger, no. So if I go there and I say perform scripts, right? And I go there and I say projects, I know this one is the main and this one is the next main, But I know this one here, it's a critical path within there is this one, is within the folder of projects, right? So I know because all my main, first of all, they have this parenthesis range of numbers. So I know this is designers. And then I know this one is the trigger within designers. I know this one is triggers within staff. I know this one is triggers within users, right? So it's really, really useful to use that way to name things. So
thank you very much, Nick. We greatly appreciate it. You do a lot for us. This was an awesome session. Okay. And we'll answer the value list question tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're talking about value lists anyway, so it'll be mostly on topic.
Yes, we will.
Okay, we can open this up. Have a good day, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.